Hi everyone, Air here. Today is Saturday, and I just got back from the coffee shop. It is a cute little corner coffee shop that I'm working on partnering with for some beautiful, events where we do like coffee and a date. We bring in singles that are like high value, Miami locals, and we do some matchmaking. We do some relationship coaching, and I'm just so excited for it. And I went there today to actually work on one of my graduate papers for the psychotherapy. And I feel like this is just once again the universe lining up to be able to help me share with you all some of the experiences and lessons I have learned throughout the years when it comes to, sticking up for myself, setting boundaries, learning how love is supposed to be healthy love, and really understanding that that starts with self-respect and that starts with a lot of reflection and rewiring of the mind. So, yes, I was working on my psychotherapy paper, but I also had class this morning with Tantra because I am about to actually graduate as a level 2 Tantra facilitator. And I am so thankful that this morning, and this all happened starting at like 4 a.m., by the way, guys. So, starting at 4 a.m., I wake up to do my Tantra lessons because they're out of Amsterdam. And then I turn around and I have psychotherapy on the brain because what happens next is just so aligned with what we're sharing today about situationships that I am so proud of myself. At the end of the day, seeing how much I've grown, how I'm really applying lessons and knowledge through all of this education I've experienced in the last few years and putting into real life. And one of the most beautiful parts is that not only have I got to go through this journey with you all and figure out who I am and who I want to become and being her, I also get to share this with you guys because you all also, if you're checking into here, you want to figure out who you are, how to love yourself, how to redefine yourself, how to have healthy relationships, go for your goals, and attract your dreams. So, today we're definitely going to talk about how to move past the situationships and into that healthy, everlasting soulmate type of love. And I am going to kind of like pause and say that I do this for a living, that this is something that is, yes, a huge passion of mine, but I also work with people one to one. We do the events here down in Miami now. And if you have a small business or if you have an event in mind with your hotel or with your company, I would love to go in and host an event with you all and be able to teach about relationships on a bigger scale. Furthermore, we've also started like sales in a way and teaching you how to relate to your customers because your customers are people too, obviously. And building relationships with them and a great dynamic quickly is essential for a business. So that is some of the offerings that we're starting to really dive deep into here in Brickell and the Miami surrounding area. But furthermore, we still have, and I love it so much, the legendary Polarity Masterclass. And the Polarity Masterclass is all about rewiring your subconscious to start attracting your dreams and your goals and letting go of these bad habits. Therefore, you can also attract, your ultimate partner, your relationship that you know you deserve and you love. And that type of 3-day polarity class can be downloaded and you can do it self-paced, but I really love to do the live sessions as well. So that's super easy to find. If you go to my Instagram, Air Kramer, you're going to be able to find it right away in the link in the bio. But also, this is just really good for you overall if you're looking to enhance your relationships in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic for you to find so much value in relationship coaching or sitting down and talking about trauma and the past and working through that with someone that has a lot of education and has partnered with other professionals in psychotherapy to be able to discuss these things in a very safe, respectful environment. So again, you can reach out on Instagram or you can email us at hello@erickramer.com and we can 100% get you started on that. Okay, back to the coffee shop. So I go to the coffee shop this morning because I'm actually working on finishing up one of my graduate papers. This paper was particularly interesting for this story because it has a Greek study of about 500 participants. And the entire study was understanding the 82 perceived benefits of what it is like to be in a long-term intimate relationship. So the benefits of being in a long-term intimate relationship is the study that I'm doing and the paper that I'm writing, and I'm doing this kind of explorative analysis of this paper in this coffee shop. Now, I have been through just so many different types of like relationships at this point, and I don't regret a single one of them, but I have definitely had some really hard lessons in there. I've had some heartbreak, I've had some disappointment, and I have really done the work to make sure that every single time I move forward in a positive direction. It would seem that relationships and dynamics definitely do change as you get older and depending on where you're dating in the world. It's not just who you're dating, it's also where and what and when. And these are concepts that maybe people don't think about as much as like who they're dating because people don't really write down when they're going to find their dream partner or when that's going to be a good time for them to date. They're mostly writing down the qualities of the dream partner that they wish to have. And that I feel has become a little bit short-sighted of not realizing the how and the when and the what and the where do have a phenomenal impact, just like the who. So with that, I am sitting in this coffee shop working on my paper, and I've been there for about an hour. And I just really, if you've been in a coffee shop and you've been working, there's that weird moment where you're like, you have all of your things set up, and you're like, yes, awesome, 100% cool. And then you, of course, you have to pee. And you have this moment where you're like, do I leave everything here or do I, risk it and like run to the restroom? Do you ask the stranger to like look at your stuff? Which doesn't make a lot of sense because it's the strangers that you're afraid of that would like take your stuff. But this coffee shop, I've actually visited quite a few times since I recently moved back down here to Miami. And it's one of those where now I kind of know the staff a little bit and the manager, and I'm pretty sure that I would be safe if, I pick up and like go to the restroom. So I just grab my purse and I go to the restroom, and I swear that I'm only in there at maximum like 2 minutes. Like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Gotta pee, get back to my laptop. I got a graduate paper to like, finish. And I am so thankful that I did go to the restroom because I get to do like a little like spot check of like, how do you look, right? Like when you're washing your hands, you're like, okay, just, tweak your hair and stuff like that. And I kid you not, I have recently ended a quote unquote situationship that really wasn't serving me any longer. And we just really wanted different things as far as our futures. And I have like a lot of love for this person and a lot of respect for this person, but it's not mutual. And that's what really happens in situationships is you tend to find somebody that is in a good, healthy space that is capable of love and is very clear in their communication of what they want in their future. And in situationships, you get partnered with someone that sees these great qualities in you and enjoys spending time with you, and maybe even will tell you that they respect or love you. And the words really don't match up with the actions. And you get this kind of wish-washy, let's take it slow, I'm working on myself, I don't know what I want, I'm not ready yet type of behavior and vocalization from them. And the other person, the person that cares, the person that sees the beauty of their relationship and the potential of it, really gets put into this like whirlwind or this tornado feeling of like, what is going on? Like, this does not make sense. And the first thing I want to tell anyone out there, whether they're female or male or however you choose to identify, is situationships are not a sign of your self-worth. And you should really not let them take damage to your confidence or your self-esteem, because it's not you. And I really want to pause and just hit this really hard before we go forward, is if you are coming into some type of connection with somebody, and even if you, like, in the beginning felt one way and you've changed your mind, that's okay too. Like, if you entered into something and, like, let's say you met this person and you were in a dark space and you needed to heal, and then you've actually elevated past that and you've transformed back into that healed, healthy type of love. Hurrah for you. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you started. You could have started in a very healthy space and stayed in a healthy space. Again, it's really how you communicate your needs and what you're investing. So if you are coming from a space of, look, I am in a healed energy, I know what I want, I know what I deserve, I know what I want with you, and I'm being very clear and communicative with this. Maybe you have fallen in love with this person and it's been, like a few months or, even years. And you're like, I just care about this person so much. Like, and you want to get that validation almost of like, they don't love me back, or they don't want me back, or they don't want a relationship. And really, that does translate to, I don't want a relationship with you. And that can be really devastating. In fact, that can hurt more than a traditional breakup where you are with somebody and you break up, because it's like the inability to have closure on something. And as somebody in your higher power and as someone that is really trying to come from a place of like, I want this love, like I want this healthy type of love, it can be hard when you see the potential in somebody, when you see the beauty and you even see like the things that they're not so good at. Like you see what their faults are as well. And that happens over time. And that's how you kind of know that you do care about this person so much, is like you've been able to see their good and their bad, and you still feel this type of way about them. And this is something that I posted on Instagram a few days ago, and I'll share it with you all because it is really powerful. And first and foremost, I have to say that this didn't originate from me. I actually had to lean into such a great, healthy, masculine energy. He's a friend of mine now, and his name is Jahaya. He's actually this very very talented saxophone player that moved down from New York City down into Miami recently and has just been going to show after show. And I'm just thankful that he poured into me during this time and, kind of straightened my crown and like reminded me, who I am and what love stands for. So just a quick shout out to him. I will probably like tag him in this episode as well, or let him know that I recorded this because it just really meant so much to me. Okay, so the thing is that love in itself, whether it is romantic or platonic, or it is with your family, or it's with whoever, a situationship, if you will, Love is a gift, and love shouldn't have expectations and attachment to it. You may have fallen for this person, and maybe they even told you in the beginning they wanted a relationship, and you thought that you were working towards that, and you kind of got taken down this yellow brick road that like got cut off before you reached the big, Oz. So that makes you immediately want to get really angry about the entire situation because you're like, I feel so betrayed. I feel so misled. I feel rejected. I feel unwanted. I feel all these icky, icky feelings. And I am so not going to be your friend for a second, but I'm going to be your friend and tell you that that's not love. Love is a gift, and love does not require reciprocation. So if you have fallen into a situationship or this kind of casual relationship, then I would remind you, like, if you are angry about it, if you are really upset and you are saying that you love this person and you want to like get revenge or you want to take it out on this person, then I would remind you that that's not what love is. That's your ego coming out, and I get it. Like, I'm not here to fault you for being human. I am human too. And if I said I wasn't upset about this, then I would be lying to you all. And that would not be a very authentic way to present this information. So, yes, you can be angry and you can be frustrated and you can just really not enjoy what's going on, but this is your invitation to realize that has nothing to do with the other person. And this other person is just showing a mirror to you on how you view yourself because you are angry, but you're actually angry at yourself because you've had this sense of self abandonment and you've had this sense of pouring into something that you know isn't good for you and isn't loving and pure and peaceful for your heart and your soul. So you're getting all of these emotions and all this anger and resentment and thoughts of like revenge and how do I get back at him or her, and maybe even some obsessive thoughts of like, what are they doing? Why haven't they messaged me back? Like, how long is it going to take? Whatever it may be. Like, these are all just reflections of you. And I'm telling this to you not because I'm trying to make you feel worse. Like, that's not the goal here whatsoever. The goal here is to move you out of this situation, toxic cycle that you feel like you've been wrapped into that may or may not have even been your fault, and into a place of harmony and peace and love. That way you can go and have that healthy relationship that you deserve. And if you are still holding on to these types of things, then maybe there is a piece of you that doesn't feel like you deserve love and the healthy relationship. So you're holding on to this past person that's not treating you right and is really showing you that they don't care about you. They don't love you. They don't even respect you. And it can be so discombobulating to have both of those train of thoughts in your head at the same time. Because even in this circumstance I have found myself in that I closed the door and I was like, this is dumb. Like, here is my version of closure. I wrapped it up how I choose to do closure. And I had done that actually about 4 days ago, 3 days ago from this person before this coffee shop. So like, and even before that, I was setting up my walls to be like, this is not working. Like, and I will admit, like, there is this sense of like, sometimes it does take a few times for you to really establish a firm boundary. And that goes back to the do you respect yourself? Do you love yourself type of mentality? And how strong can you be in that? Because you are at the end of the day, and I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say that this person is the person that you end up with, right? And like they end up being your husband or girlfriend, and this was all just this epic love story. Let's play devil's advocate and say yes to that. The fact of the matter is you are still in this current time setting your boundary of how this person is going to treat you in the future. And that boundary is a definition of your relationship, and it's going to be one of the pillars of that relationship. And if you cannot have that, then of course, this person is not going to respect you. And it's actually going to be super damaging to your relationship overall. Okay. I know that was a lot. And just take a deep breath with me because this is not an easy concept. And when your heart gets involved and logic gets shut down, it can get so messy and you could just find yourself in this whirlwind of emotions. And I'm just trying to take all of this chaos that has happened in this scenario or in this situation that you found yourself in. And I'm really just trying to let the dust kind of fall from the air down to the ground. And if we can get that down, we can look eye to eye and we can start really seeing the reality of what's going on here. So, getting back into this situationship type of how do we move forward? How do we let this go? How do we find our inner peace again and find ourselves again? Because again, this is about who I am. This is about who you are. Nothing about anyone else. Something that I love about the subconscious is the subconscious does not relate to anyone else in the world. The subconscious only knows ourselves. So every single interaction we ever have is actually an interaction with ourselves. And that is so intimate. And it's one of the reasons I love neuroanatomy. And it's one of the reasons I really love Tantra, because this is where they kind of get crossed over into like everything is a reflection of oneness and of you. And if you can really bring that out and like understand that, your life starts to shift and your energy starts to shift. And it's just so much fun to be that way. So, situationships, I'm in this coffee shop and I walk out of the restroom and I find myself face to face with this man. Now, I actually live relatively close again, and I definitely did not see this chapter of my life coming. I actually moved down here for a job that immediately turned out to be just not what they hired me to do. And I am just like, okay, let's surrender to the universe. Something's at play here, some type of karmic debt, some type of reasoning that I am here. I've been led here. And I'm so excited because I love Brickle and I love, having my puppy back with me and, being back in the city just feels so good. So I know that I'm here for a purpose. I'm just, letting that purpose reveal itself and trying not to get attached again to the emotions of it. So I'm walking out of this restroom. Again, I was only in there for 2 minutes. When I walked to the restroom, he was nowhere in sight whatsoever. And the coffee shop is not big, like, at all. The coffee shop is maybe the size of, like, a one-bedroom apartment. And you can see, like, the front of the coffee shop and the back of the coffee shop, and it's just like a big living room, actually. I don't even know if it's the size of a one-bedroom apartment. It's more like a living room, like, type of coffee shop. And I'm face to face with this person. We had already had our closure. He knew how I felt. I had to really infer how he felt through some of the things that he shared with me. Some of those one-liners that I mentioned earlier in the show were definitely said. And I had this self-acceptance, this self-respect that it's time to walk away. And the universe had other plans, or God had other plans, whatever you choose to believe in. And we lock eyes because he's sitting at the coffee bar and there's only one way to get back to my stuff, and my stuff is on the other side, maybe 20 feet away. So I just nod and I say hello and I move forward. And I'm like, that is enough. That is probably more than enough. I was respectful. I said hello. I didn't ignore him. Like, he is a human being at the end of the day, and just move on. And perfectly okay with all of that. When I got back to my laptop, I started working again. And I will admit, like, there's a little bit of that, like, okay, nervous energy, but I would say in like 20 seconds, I reminded myself of, no, I'm amazing. Look at what I'm doing right now. Like, I look great. This is one of the days I actually got, I don't want to say dressed up, but I put on my makeup. My hair looked nice. I had a cute outfit on. So, like, I felt really, like, beautiful today, and I still feel very beautiful. And I I start working and I remind myself, I was like, I am working on a graduate level paper. Like, I'm gonna be a doctor in a few years. Like, I am just like, I'm just reminding myself in this 20 seconds of who I am. Like, that's what I'm doing, not who I am as far as my essence, but like, whoa, air, like, look at yourself. Like, whoa. And when I did that and I had that kind of like whole heart, like love moment, I felt so much better immediately. And it did not matter to me that he was on the other side. It didn't matter to me that the way even that he was facing that, like, he could be watching me like the entire time. I didn't care. I was like, okay, let's just do me. And that felt so great. So 20 minutes passes and I imagine that he was probably just waiting there for whatever reason because he didn't meet with anybody, he didn't have any work, and I think he was probably wondering maybe even if he needed to talk to me. And eventually he did get up and he walks his way over to me and he sits in front of me and he starts talking to me and he actually like took a little bit of my paper and he starts reading my paper and everything. And I find myself in this kind of interesting situation where I'm like, okay, I have left this. Like, I have found peace in this. This guy has made it very clear that he is not in a place where he can have a healthy relationship. And this is where you really have to choose to believe people. You have to believe people when they say things to you, even if they're lies. This is like a little bit of a tangent. With this particular individual, maybe it's the psychoanalyst in me, maybe it's the savior complex in me. Like, this person is a really good person. Like, I 100% know that this person's a good person. This person is also someone I think has been really, really hurt in the past and is afraid. And that part of me that has just so much compassion and is, loves him so dearly, wants to like reach over and just like hold that part and be like, if I like nurture this enough, like the wounded bird, like it will come into play. And I understand that like really empathetic people like ourselves, like I know I'm going to include you in this because like if you're listening to this, you probably have a lot of empathy as well. Like, you wanna do that, right? You wanna really just nurture and love this person and, like, remind them, like, how special they are, and you really want to, like, look into their eyes, which in this particular person, when we look into each other's eyes, like, it's just this infinite amount of, like, love that transcends, like, time and space, and it happens every single time, and I am so thankful for that because you don't really get to experience that with a lot of people in the world. Like, it's often, related to like chance occurrences of like meeting soulmates or, seeing into a baby's eyes or looking into a puppy's eyes. Like, it's just that enormous amount of love and care and tenderness. And it's just timeless. And I'm so thankful for those moments. And with that, like, I find myself in this scenario where I'm like, I probably should set a boundary, but I'm also trying to show this person, even in my absence, what healthy love is like. And this is something that if you are trying to find closure in scenarios like this, please feel free to take it home with you and like put it in, your toolbox in your back pocket because it is 100% possible for you to still show somebody a healthy relationship and healthy love without being part of their lives. Because there is this amount of distance required for you to be able to respect yourself and maybe even find healing and open yourself up to that new healthy love. And the attachment affiliated with that past will hinder the new. So, again, this healthy love that you can have can be displayed in so many different ways. In this particular instance, I felt like, okay, this was brave in a way to approach me. Like, he did have to, like, come across, the coffee shop. He did have to pull out the chair. He did have to, like, have the courage to, say hello. And in that, I don't wanna ever be disrespectful and be like, I'm gonna start a fight or I'm going to cause a scene. I'm not dramatic. And I really recognize when people try and people are putting an effort, and I reward that. And I feel like not everybody does that. I feel like some people are like, if this isn't like to the absolute extreme effort, then I am not going to accept it. And maybe there is something I can learn in that. But me as a person right now, I like to really identify when people are trying and when people are looking to grow and put in that effort. And I really respect that it's hard, like, to put yourself out there. So he comes over, I really respect that, and he sits down, and I'm like, "I'm not gonna cause any type of drama or scene or anything like that. Let's just see what he has to say." And the entire conversation had nothing to do with us, and maybe it lasted, like, 10 or 15 minutes, I'm not sure. I tend to lose a little bit of time when I'm with this person, and the conversation has to do with my paper, and my paper just happens to be about the benefits of long-term intimate relationships, because the universe is funny. And towards the end of the conversation, he mentioned, "I'll let you get back to it," and that's cool. Like, again, I'm there to work. I never thought that this was going to, like, happen. And he stands up and he says, "It was nice, seeing you." And I felt it. I felt, a little bit of the tension in me kind of rise up. And I wanted to be very authentic. And I didn't say it back. I just said something along the lines of "have a good day." And I wonder if he even picked up on that. He's very intuitive in some ways himself when it comes to language and words. I feel like maybe like the Gemini in him. Yes, we're both Geminis. So he's very good at picking up those type of things, but he didn't mention anything, so maybe not. And when he left, I really took a moment and sat with the emotions that came up. And I felt the self-abandonment because I was like, I should have not even given him the time of day. I should have just ignored him. And then I felt the higher self of, no, that's not what your soul would have wanted for you to do. And what you did was very appropriate as far as like, you were kind, you were respectful, you held a conversation very well. And like, my soul is happy with how I showed up in that emotional maturity type of way. And I'm really glad because I was like, okay, now I get to marry these two. And this is where coming into situationships, if you do find yourself where you have to see this person consistently, like maybe you are married to them or you work with them or, you live in the same part of town and you just find yourself like you see them. Like, this is something that could probably help you because I found it to be very rewarding as far as like I have complete peace and solace on how I represented myself during this situation. So I did not let myself go down the rabbit hole. I didn't let myself spiral. I didn't let myself even overthink it other than this happened and this is how I reacted and this is how I'm going to move forward. And in this, I found being respectful, having a good conversation, not talking about, the connection in between us or, the situation at hand. Like, I don't need anything from this person. I wanted things at, a certain point, and I'm honoring towards that. And again, I do have that care and love and respect towards them, but I also recognize that it's not mutual. Like, this person does not love me. This person does not respect me. This person does not have that same amount of care. And putting those together looks like this. During the conversation, be respectful, right? It was courageous. They came over or they engaged or they reached out to you. Maybe it was a text. Maybe it was a phone call. Like, it's still courage. Be respectful, be polite, but do not forget who you are. Do not forget how much self-respect you have for yourself. Do not forget how much love you have for yourself. And do not forget the facts. The fact of the matter is in that conversation, there was no apologies to me. In that conversation, there was no, let's get together and, talk about something or go do something. There was no plans. There was no change of information. Like, he didn't miraculously say, like, I do want a relationship or I want to, like, see where this goes or I've been thinking of you. Like, none of that was said. So it's super important after these moments to really sit in the emotions and be like, what am I feeling? But also, what are the facts? With that, now I took about like an hour or two and was like, okay, I sat with it. I reviewed it. I'm not going to hold on to this. Like, I don't need to hold on to this. Again, I had already shut the door on this situationship and it had already lasted probably too long, especially like, granted, like, I've been working on that boundary for about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So managing that with like love can be difficult. But again, I'm still growing in this, and every single situation is different, and how you approach it will be different. I can imagine for people that had even longer relationships that it could be even longer for you to be able to set up these boundaries and really identify what's working and what's not working. So once the quote unquote dust settled down and I was able to see clearly and feel clearly and think clearly, I did reach out and I just sent a short, message. And I was like, look, or I didn't say look. I said, quote, please do not do that again. And that's all that really needed to be said. It was, please do not do that again. I'm not expecting an answer. I'm not expecting this change in his heart or in his mind. I am just simply establishing a new boundary of that did not feel good. That did not feel respectful. I don't like this. This is all said in that one statement of please do not do that again. And it does help. And I do feel very peaceful when I sent that. Again, you don't need to attack. You're not looking to persuade this person. You're not looking to change this person. You cannot do that. It's impossible. If you were even a witch and you're trying to like cast spells and love spells, they're going to backfire. You cannot approach it that way. People only change when they want to change, when they choose to change. And maybe they do change for people in certain circumstances, but it is wrong for you to go forward and try to change people. It's going to hurt you. It's going to really, really hurt you. So keep it simple, keep it direct, and keep it polite. In this case, please do not do that again. I don't need to explain what he did. He knows what he did. And I get it. Going back, I thought it was courageous, brave, but I also thought it was very inappropriate because I've asked for closure several times. I've told him, this does not feel good. This is not what I want. This needs to stop. And that felt like disrespect. I didn't act on that. My heart hurt. The locking of the eyes, the intimacy, the chemistry, the laughter, like, it's really easy when he's around. Like, we honestly, and perhaps this is part of the situationships that I should bring up, is most of the time, the reason you stay in situationships has to do with the fact that it is easy and it is fun and it is delightful and loving, and the sexual chemistry is probably there, and it's just great, right? And you see this future with this person, and you see how wonderful they're going to be in a relationship, and you don't get to play that out. It's like it gets cut off before you even get to start. And that is fear motivated based off of whoever's doing that resistance or that hesitation. But again, you as the higher self, you as the person that's representing healthy love and knows your self-worth and what you want in life, have an obligation to yourself to not lower your standards or break your own boundaries in order to pursue something that's going to cause you pain. You deserve more. You really, really fucking deserve more. So do a little bit of mirror work, do a little bit of music therapy, whatever you need to do, but just know that your worth is not attached to this. I, again, don't require anything further. I am opening my heart up. I'm still going to send love and light and good energy, no resentment, no anger. I don't have time for that. I am letting go of that. I am detaching from that, just like I would with any negative situation. It's only going to cause illness in myself if I was to hold on to those emotions. And I would say that for you as well. If you're holding on to that, it just hurts yourself. That's why you ended up on the floor bawling, crying. Like, don't. It's okay. You are safe. You're going to be okay. Even if it doesn't feel like it tonight or tomorrow or the next day, you are safe and it's going to be okay. So pick yourself up. Be proud. If you listen to this entire episode, then I really hope that you have a good handle on how to see situationships and how to move forward from them and how to really establish better boundaries. And again, even if you end up with this person in the future and it all works out and they work on themselves and their trauma and you're still available, you're probably not going to be available for it. And, it does work out. Kudos. So happy. But do not lose yourself in the process. Love yourself. Respect yourself. And above all, thank you so much, as always, for loving and healing and growing with